I know where I want to go with this tonight. I want to start from one end of town and go as far as we can, looking for, like, sidewalks is a simple thing to explain. You're going to redo the current sidewalks, but if we want new sidewalks, then that's going to be 80/20. And
Oh, here's Doug then.
do we want to do it? That part, let's buy into what we can buy into. I don't think we've solved the issue of the light poles or the sidewalk that we want. And I don't truly understand what you're giving us, but there'll be a cost factor in there too, to upgrade, because I believe we're looking for an upgrade. And Four Corners, I'd like to talk about them again downtown. Good help in that neighborhood there. We got, it's a pain in the neck to get in and out of there now. What's it gonna be like 15 years from now? It's not gonna get any easier, so let's get that on the table and then start knocking these things up. We're ready, we are ready,
Alright, let me just pull up Google Maps here. Might be better to have that up and
I think once we get past Cadell and that, Jim, I think you've pretty much come up with a set of ideas for the other end of town. Like that out.
okay. Guys ready?
Yep.
Alright, first thing I wanted to go over real quick was just to have you guys, when you go into www.maine.gov and then you type in /Maine DOT, it'll take you to this page right here, the Maine DOT website under maine.gov. And within this, you can go see some current projects that we have some information on. Specifically the Wiscasset Downtown Improvement Project. And then over here on the left, you have a bunch of information, landscape amenities. So when you click that, there's a bunch of ideas that we've put up here for Wiscasset to take a look at. But for now, I'd recommend that you go on there and take a look. Because under each one, like bricks, it shows you 3 or 4 different kinds of bricks. Then bollards, you know, if you do want bollards in town, they have different types of bollards here as well. Benches, different types of benches that, there's all kinds of benches other than, there's more variety out there than just what we're showing here. But at least give you some ideas, different types of trees that we're putting in. Site furnishing and hardscape. And the Wi-Fi's hung up, but these are tree grates, different types of tree grates that you can put into. If you do choose bricks for the sidewalks, I would recommend putting in tree grates to allow for the expansion of the roots so they don't come up through the brick. So that will help. And then as part of the, and Agunquit has these, they're tree grates with little racks that go around it to keep kids and stuff from getting in there. You know, obviously they sometimes become trash dispensers. People throw trash in them, so that's the only, I guess, downside of these type of amenities.
We don't have any space for trees, do we?
There are. I think there's a few places where the sidewalk is wide enough to accommodate some kind of planting.
Oh, that would be nice.
And then different types of lamp posts as you look at sidewalk lighting. And there's a ton of stuff out there. I know James has some of the pamphlets that we've shared.
We picked a light post.
Yep.
In fact, that's it, right there.
And we got bike
Right
racks.
in the middle.
If you want bike racks,
Yep.
there's all kinds of different types of those. Railings, if you got places where you want railings installed.
can you back up the lights again? James saw what he picked, what he had picked.
Well, you guys picked out that middle one at the top.
I
That's what they
wasn't
liked.
at that meeting. That one?
Wait, is that the one that has the flags that can?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
put the flags on it. It's as similar as it gets. Maybe a different company, but that's pretty much,
Thank you.
that's pretty much it.
Just related to
Oh, it's one.
this, I just wanted to... This is the finished product down in Agunquit. Let me see if I can back up a little bit. So this is coming into town, and these are new light fixtures. I can't really see it there. Let's see if we can pick a spot where you can see it. Yeah, you can't. But anyway, all the lights have a junction box on them. They have GFI outlets on
That was the
the
question.
post, so the town can go in and string Christmas lights on the post, as well as all the trees. All the trees have GFIs that come up out of the tree grate and are alongside the trees here. The GFI is alongside the trees, so you can do the same thing with the tree, is plug into that ground fault outlet and string lights on the trees as well.
So they have lights coming off of the telephone poles as well as on the other side of the street.
That's what it does,
Standalone
yeah.
lights.
Yeah, they have lights on, they'll have lights on all these posts.
Yeah.
They have outlets, and as well as the trees.
So what he's saying, across the street, they still have the goosenecks.
The old
Oh,
light.
Yeah.
yeah, that's because they chose to have them. Some towns choose to keep them and some towns don't. It all depends on what your nightlife is like. I guess in the past, they've had issues at night when it's not lit up down in Agunquit.
Well, a lot more visitation down there.
Yeah, being tourists,
Correct.
tourists and
Yeah.
stuff, the more light the better at night.
And they did put, as we make our way out of town here, you'll see the, this is Scotch Hill. This is a historic section of Agunquit. Once it starts to generate.
And I see they didn't do a crosswalk in anything but paint.
Correct.
They didn't dermo.
They didn't do brick or
Brick,
stamped or...
Yep.
Yeah, when this does start off, like I said, it's coming into the historic. The town chose brick. They've added, I can't tell you how many feet of brick sidewalk got added all the way down to the Agunquit Playhouse. Actually, it could probably, might be beneficial for you just to...
James, didn't you say that brick was hard to maintain and hard for snow shoveling?
Not,
It would
not
get uneven?
the way they do it today.
Oh,
The way they do it today is they pave beneath it sand and then put the brick so there's a stable platform. The old way we did it was not a
just
good way to do it.
yeah. So brick would be an option?
Absolutely, yeah.
What kind of brick would that be, the cement brick or the one from clay?
They're clay brick. They're real brick.
Okay.
This is the start of Agunquit, and as we go down through, you're gonna start seeing the brick sidewalk. If you're familiar, this is Agunquit Playhouse. This is where the project terminated. Hopefully this Wi-Fi will kick in here and go. But they chose to extend brick all the way down to Bourne Lane, which is just beyond this little hill here. If it ever kicks in here.
You see it from Google Earth?
No, this is a movie file. We actually took this from a car driving down the project, just so I could take an after picture. But it looks like it's gonna freeze up on us.
Lincolnville Beach, that's brick on the sidewalk. right?
Yeah. That looks so nice. And the lights there are nice. That was a great job.
They brought that quite a way up the street too.
Yeah.
Up towards this way.
Lincolnville?
Yeah.
They have a nice bridge railing there too.
Yeah, no, that's why I keep saying if they can do it for them, they can do it for us.
Yes, definitely.
I'm hung up on that.
Well, with the brick, you've got a layer, you got 12 inches of gravel, then you got 2 inches of pavement on top of the gravel, and then you got a layer of sand, and then the brick sets on the sand, and then you obviously fill the cracks with sand, and they're compacted by our specs. So what you have is that pavement's at a 2% slope. So when the water hits that pavement, it goes toward the gutter line to the under drain, so it gets away from the brick, so it stops it from expansion. So between Agunquit, Hollowell's gonna have brick, Belgrade Village is gonna have brick. So all those towns, and Wiscasset has brick today, they'll have brick when we do that project too.
Any additional length that you did in these towns, did all of them say you do, rather than them try to?
No,
No.
no, they paid for it.
That's
Anything.
what I mean, they paid for it.
Yeah.
What's the furthest back that these brick sidewalks go? I mean, are they within the last year? Are they within the last couple of years?
Yep. Agunquit will be going through its second fall season.
Have they had any problem yet?
They had brick before, so they're familiar with them, but the biggest key is get the water away from them. And I think with the design, with that gravel, then the pavement, then the sand, then the brick, then the sand, it filters the water away from it, so it doesn't allow for freezing. It'll drain.
What about weeds in the sand, or is it so constantly used, weeds don't get to grow?
The only place I've seen weeds is on the curbside. I don't see weeds in the bricks themselves.
No, well,
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to go too far. We were gonna have to decide as a committee what would be brick, because from a maintenance standpoint, I don't think I'd wanna go too far out of the village, the
well, we could
built up
just
part
do
of the
the
village.
downtown,
Yeah, cause
block.
there is a maintenance issue with
yeah.
taking care of them.
And we don't want to be using lots of poison.
We don't now, we don't use any.
Good.
We weed whack when weeds come up, and it's, but it
And use
doesn't
vinegar.
get rid of them, it just,
Yeah, but
they
it,
come back, but.
That was us that you just had up there.
Yeah, I was just gonna go to Agunquit real quick. I think the Google images have been updated. So what Agunquit did, Agunquit had a $2 million bond that they got to take care of all their sidewalks. So what happened was that they didn't plan on doing as much brick until they got the bid prices, and then the bid prices came in low enough so they extended the brick part of the sidewalk. They always had bituminous in there, but because the bid prices came in, they extended the brick beyond all the way to Bourne Lane, which I think is right there. So everything from Bourne Lane to in town is brick. And let's see if this has been updated since then. And it has one side. So see, they put in brick all the way.
looks nice.
So it gives you a view of what the brick looks like to
Versus
bituminous.
the tarmac.
What's the approximate cost to the town for that?
I can't remember. I didn't bring any cost with me tonight, but that's something that we could figure out once we know what lengths and stuff that you wish to have.
Is there a brick factory in Maine? Are we
It's
providing
more-
jobs?
Martin Brick, and I think they're out of, I want to say they're out of New Hampshire.
Okay, well, at least it's New
It's
England.
New England. Yeah, it's a fired brick. The only thing I will say about brick, and I've talked about this with Belgrade, is where they have no sidewalks today, they're gonna have sidewalks in the future, and they go brick, is to make the tip down from this point of the curb where it angles down to make it ADA compliant. From that point there, I've recommended that they go bituminous, just because of snow plows in a residential area. Commercial, I'm not too worried about it, because you guys have snow plows that plow your sidewalks, but Belgrade doesn't even have an ordinance. So my only concern there is by introducing this to a residential area, snow plows that are not friendly with brick on the tip downs. That's the only comment that I
What's
have.
on the rim? What's it rimmed with? Is that
Granted.
granite?
Yep,
Is it
granite curb.
Okay, so it's not concrete or...
Yep, and the plan right now will be you'll have granite through the historic district. Then everything outside that district will be bituminous.
And
Unless, of course, if the town wants the difference in granite, then they would just pay the difference in cost from granite to bituminous curb in those areas.
I believe in one of the prior meetings, we do want the old granite. When it's-
Town wants whatever we
We'll
remove.
take
Yep.
it.
Yeah. And what we've done in some of the towns, like with Wiscasset, we're gonna remove the granite curb and we have to build some retaining walls. We're actually gonna take that and build the retaining walls out of that granite to keep the integrity of the history of that granite in the town, so.
Nice.
There's things that we can do to keep that aspect of the project alive.
What comes first, the road work or the sidewalk?
Road work. Yep, they'll go in and do all the under drain and set the granite curb and then start filling in on the sidewalk side.
Well, in town, there's sidewalk on both
Yep,
sides.
yep. So you'll be without a sidewalk on one side or the other at certain points. And the contractor will just have to coordinate that with businesses to make sure they still have foot traffic, and we'll get into that dialogue when we get the design complete and start talking about schedule and impacts and timing.
So the timing, is it right away, once you get the road done, that we start on the sidewalks, or you have to wait a year, or what do you?
It all depends on what the contractor does. Some contractors will bite off, say a segment, get it 100% done. Like in Hollowell, for some of you that travel to Hollowell, we're gonna take care of one side of the road completely. We're gonna put concrete barrier up, make downtown one way, and then we're gonna build that whole side of the road from that concrete barrier all the way to the building face, which is 100% sidewalks and everything, before we're gonna allow the contractor to go to the other side of the road.
So how long will that hold up traffic as one way?
And we're not sure yet. We haven't looked at what we call the taming results out there, showing you traffic, obviously certain times of the day, which out here is pretty constant all day. There's no real
Well, certain times of
AM
the
and
year,
PM
too.
peaks. You're pretty constant. So obviously that'll be into consideration, obviously.
You can't really go around.
Yeah, there's no detour. You got no detour. So that's all stuff that'll factor in how we construct this thing, which we'll keep analyzing as we go. And nighttime work, I know we've thrown that out there, but honestly, I think some of this has to be done at night just because of dealing with the traffic. So then you have that inconvenience, but I think there's going to have to be some compromise to exactly how this thing gets built to try to minimize impacts to both people traveling and living. So
Okay, I know I'm asking
And
a lot of
business.
questions, but when we get ready to put lights up, is that pre-sidewalk or post-sidewalk?
that's before the sidewalk goes in, because they'll have to run the electrical conduit
Under?
and then put the light bases in, like on these. I can probably zoom in better up here. Didn't like that, did you? There you go. Yep, that's not what I want. Back out. Yep, now what did I do? Yep, now I lost it altogether.
Here it is.
That's downtown Gunkwit.
Yep.
It's a great little bakery right there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
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 What a chokehold.
They welcome both bikers though.
Yeah.
We got free coffee one day.
Trying to see if I can get close enough to a light here to show you.
Must be one in there somewhere.
That's
Oh,
one.
you know what? This is pre-lights. This was
Yeah.
still under construction
Yep,
when this
you
got
can
done,
see
so
the- yep,
under each
right
one of those-
underneath that.
under each one of those barrels is a concrete base which the light poles sit on.
Looks
so
like
they'll
it's
get-
right in the middle of the sidewalk.
It's close in some cases,
Don't we have a problem with that?
but it all depends on, I think it's probably more toward the front of that thing than it is the back of it. Like this one
Yeah,
here.
right on the edge.
Because you gotta have 4 feet of clear space behind it for ADA compliance, just enough to get a wheelchair around if there's handicap needs. But yeah, that's interesting. This is before the actual.
Last week I saw either MDOT or contractors surveying where the storm sewers are. Right down here, actually.
Yeah.
Where on that, where does that fit in time-wise?
The water company has been in discussions with our utility coordinator, and I think we're trying to meet on the same path so they want to include that work into the contract, to have the contractor do their work, so they coordinate that. I'm not sure what the status of it is right now, Doug, but I know they're talking about it. It'll happen at the same time.
Is that right?
Save money.
Yep.
But it wouldn't be at the end. Is that, would you have to do you wouldn't wait till everything was done to do that, right?
No, it'll be
It'd
there.
have to be done because of downtown drains.
Yeah, everything will be done at the same time. They'll be
Yeah.
putting, probably as they're digging the
Oh,
under drain.
So
they're
it
gonna
really
be
is
digging-
at the same time you do the roads?
Yep.
Or dig up the roads?
Yeah, it's gonna be complicated.
And DOT coordinates all that? Is
Yep,
that-
our contractor, we'll put it out to bid, we'll do the coordination up front to make sure all the, whatever the needs are, as far as schedule and timing of everything, we'll put that in the contract, we'll put it out to bid. Contractor will bid on it, low bid will now have the project, and they really dictate their schedule on what end of town they start at, if they wanna focus on the in-town piece. I'm guessing probably on the outskirts will be during peak season, and they'll probably focus on the in-town piece in the spring or the fall, later fall. Just as food for thought. But once they take control, once they are awarded the project, they take ownership of the project.
So DOT just kind of steps back and...
Well, we don't step back, we have oversight and we'll be there. And obviously we'll have a communication plan in place. Website materials like all these other websites. And just to show you here. Oh, I lost it. It's like when you go to these current projects, and you're more than welcome to check any of these out, like Thomaston Route 1 right now is under construction. So this is some of the stuff that we've changed the angle parking in Thomaston to reverse angle. Back in.
That's
Um,
good. I'm glad we're finally gonna try it. We'll see if it works, but in theory, it makes much more sense than angling in.
Yeah.
You can see up the road instead of looking through your vehicle to see what's coming.
It's a change,
People
like
have to get used to it.
a lot of these towns, don't like change at first, but, if you could interview the people in Gunkwit when we were going through the design process, I pretty much drove an hour and a half home every night just feeling like I just got whipped. But that's just because of the uncertainty and not knowing what we do and what the end product is. If you go down there now and ask them, they love it.
Can you move that up a little bit, because I can't read the... Okay, thank you.
Yep, yeah, got a little explanation on there, because can't believe the calls that we were getting when we first laid down the temporary stripes, and it was interesting.
crazy.
Yeah.
That would hold up the traffic more. to
Well, when you think
reverse
about it though, is what do you do
At
when
the
you parallel
whole-
park?
Oh, when you parallel park, yes.
You
It's the
still hold
same.
traffic.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Except now instead of you're pulling up beside, now instead of parallel parking, now you just,
Angling in. Certainly be easier to get out. There's always,
well, that's the
it's like
biggest thing.
playing
is-
Russian
when
roulette,
you
trying
go
to back
leave,
out into
back
Into
traffic.
traffic, so you're gonna block.
You get more parking really.
Yeah, so when you go
I
to,
think you do actually gain.
But that's not on both sides of the street.
No, you couldn't. It wouldn't be a good idea. on both
You're,
sides.
you're doing downtown Thomaston right now?
yeah. Don't go there now, it looks like a bomb went off, but,
Thomaston's been
Is it
torn up for
affecting the
years.
business badly?
I'm not sure.
Not in town though.
Every,
Right through the center of town, seems like at least 2 years.
I don't know, I haven't ridden my bike down there.
I don't know what it looks like this summer.
just
Just
some of the things
curious.
that you see, yeah, I mean, the downtown businesses, that a lot of them were out of business before we started, so it's kind of hard to gauge, but I think the thing that some of these towns like Hollowell's adapting right now, and they're coming up with things to do during construction. Their Hollowell Board of Trade's getting together, they've made a logo, I think it's removed the crown logos, which is kind of cool. Actually, I think I might even have a copy of
What?
that just to show you.
Sorry, that's right over my head. What relevance is remove the crown?
Because there's a big crown in Hollowell. Crown
Over
of
the road? Oh, I see.
So they've kind of grabbed a hold of it, and I gotta show you. I thought it was pretty
Not
impressive.
the Queens, no.
Well,
I know it's off tangent, but I think
no.
it's good for towns to see what other towns have been
Oh, it
creating.
is. Yeah. Is the main street, Route 1 through Thomaston finished now, or is
No.
it? No,
No, it looks like a
still torn up.
war zone right at the moment. Hopefully they'll start finishing it off.
You
as
have
they
one
go
lane
in.
open?
It's 2 lanes
On
open.
and off?
On and off, and then they're doing some nighttime work coming up here to finish it up here.
So you'll know after that, you'll kind of know what the night work
Right.
is all about, right? They have tenants downtown, I presume?
I was down there a couple of months ago and I was sent in behind the town office and zigzagged through some roads and come out farther down by the Shaw Mansion or something like this is that big mansion.
The Knox.
But we don't have the option of sending them down around your house.
No.
That's all that is.
And I'm trying to find the email. Forgive me.
I guess the one answer is that businesses would suffer momentarily, but after, right, it should really help.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
And
kinda-
make more money after,
It's the disruption.
then you lose.
The
that's what I'm
disruption
trying to
has
say.
to be there. There's no way we're gonna get away from it.
But
anyway.
unfortunately, it's more than momentarily.
Yeah, but we're doing the favor for the people that come 50 years from now. They'll appreciate what we sacrificed back in
We've waited a long time for this.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of momentarily.
I think this was supposed to be over by about 2009.
Yes.
Started in 2008.
I can't find it. I'll bring it back for one of the meetings we have. But I think for the most part for where you guys lie, I think it's important that today you don't have sidewalk lighting, so you're going to introduce something new. And you're still trying to get the utilities out of downtown and move them to the backside, so you have that to focus on. So you still have a lot of stuff internally that you're trying to work on.
We have to do that, right?
So again, I would just recommend that I know you guys are kind of focused on the streetlights, and as James said, you can get flags with them, you can get plaques with them. Thomaston actually has in their concrete sidewalk put sleeves where they put the flagpole right down in the sleeve, so they have flags right on the edge of their sidewalks. I thought that was pretty creative. to see other than up on buildings or poles.
This was Thomaston? you said?
Thomaston, yep, yep. So I would just recommend go on here and check this site out. There's other projects on here that you can take a peek at. So sooner or later we'll have a Searsport project website with everything that we talk about, all the plans and stuff will be up here for folks to go on and grab a hold of. There's other projects here if you're interested in, like Bar Harbor Route 3 is under construction right now. So if you go into Bar Harbor, beware. It'll be slower than it normally is because of the construction, but I think it's going well. I think it's just a matter of people have grabbed a hold of it and accepted it, and eventually I think we'll do the same thing here.
Do you have a start date?
I don't have a start date right now. I know we're pushing for 2019.
90.
And will you be starting at Savage Road and going north, or will you be starting at Station and coming south?
All depends on what the contractor
We'll negotiate that
chooses.
with the contractor.
Oh, okay.
I hope that we'll be allowed to be a part of that discussion so that we can, because I think we really need to be done before 2020, because I told you that's our birthday, and
Yeah.
we make a big thing of it, and being both the towns and the state's 200th, we really want to put on a shindig, and it's going to be a lot of traffic. 25 years ago, I would say the town probably doubled every day in size, and the traffic was incredible. I had people directing traffic downtown at that time, and it was just, it's extremely busy.
Yep. Yeah. I've talked to the managers, and we're working at it. I think we're gonna pull up the sleeves here and start really trying to pull this stuff together. So I think it's real key for me to be here tonight, just to say, all these elements that you guys are interested in doing. If you can talk amongst yourself, but if you want additional brick, if you want, where do you want that cut off? Do you want concrete? Do you want, the biggest element for me, I think, is the sidewalk lighting. If that's a go from where to where, so we can start that design. I'm assuming you want probably brick more so in the downtown. The only requirement as far as the historic district goes is to making sure it's granite curb. The sidewalk type doesn't matter from a historic perspective, because really today it's bituminous when you think about it. So really the only requirement we have to oblige is having the granite curb in those areas, so that's pretty much a fixed item. I'm still trying to figure out if Bridge is going to revamp one of the walls of the bridge structure. But I think the plan's looking really good right now, so we should be back, I'm guessing probably sometime September, with another formal public meeting to show you what we've come up with as far as that two-way center turn lane. I will need to know how far north you want the sidewalk to extend. That's another big element because of the drainage.
So we should probably be making these decisions before September?
We'll try to have
before you come in September.
Try to have a game plan, Doug. I think that's the message that I'd like to send is, all these things are great and fantastic, but I think it's at the point now where we're looking for decisions to really start incorporating in the design. And then the poles from the downtown to the backside, that's another.
I think there's a consensus on a lot of it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. It is.
We're not gonna do brick outside downtown. Can't imagine that.
I can't see that from a maintenance perspective, and
Or the lighting.
having to take care of it.
The lighting will be very compact too.
Yeah, with the lighting, with the sidewalk lighting, I'm guessing you're just probably looking at the main downtown area.
Couple 2 to 3 blocks.
Yep.
I think the brick sidewalk probably from Pike Street started to go through town. That's where the bank is. The bank that just closed.
Yeah, I guess that would be, my homework to you folks, which I think is great, you have a committee,
I made a note.
is pull that stuff together on like limits of brick, limits of your sidewalk lighting. Those are the biggest elements for me right now.
And how far for the
north
extension? Yeah.
north sidewalk extension.
The extension from Prospect Street with the sidewalk, once it gets down to Harbor Light, if the sidewalk stays on, gets put in on the north side, I think you can eliminate that crosswalk there, because the people, there's really not much for them until they get up by Pike Street. You get your post office, that's where they do their split, so I think we could eliminate one crossover right there.
Yeah, and I think that's really something that'll probably come out in the public hearing, and just say just that, and see what you have comments. Because I know when it comes to crosswalks, it's another man, it's one man's enemy, but it's another man's friend, so.
Every crosswalk creates a disruption in the flow of traffic. And
Agreed.
if you can eliminate a couple of them and still provide safety and the convenience.
What about bump outs for cross? You
That
want
would
us
be,
to give our 2 cents worth in that
Bump
can-
outs for what, James?
for crosswalks?
yeah.
For wheelchair access?
Well, basically to have a landing area, takeoff and landing area for pedestrians. So the Bucksport
Bucksport has
has
some,
bump outs.
Yeah.
And instead of this, just, you would come out to the edge of the roadway. Yeah, you'd have a little platform there that identified it. I know our maintenance guys are not excited about that, but
No.
from a safety perspective,
Yeah, but how would they plow?
Very
they'd have to
carefully.
be careful. They'd have to be careful.
They,
They fear
What-
nothing, they'll take mailboxes and all, they'll clear that out.
but would they have to lift the plow to get
Yeah.
over that?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
they just,
Yeah. I think generally they go around them and they catch them when they're doing the sidewalks.
I have to tell you, one of the best things that we did, and I don't know when it was to put stop,
Oh,
look, and
those-
wave.
Yeah.
And when I
Yeah.
see somebody waving it, I mean, I see the movement
yes.
much quicker than I see anything else.
That's also the advantage of a bump out. If you're on the sidewalk and you're lollygagging around looking at buildings, the driver knows that you're not prepared to cross. When you enter the bump out,
Yeah.
the driver knows that you want
Those
to cross the
you
road.
want to cross,
And
yes.
I think that's a huge advantage. I notice
Yeah.
that in Bucksport quite a bit because I drive through Bucksport a lot, and if they're not on that bump out, I don't.
Yes.
It
They're not
doesn't register
serious
that I even worry
crosses.
about them. But yeah,
In terms of long-term maintenance, say we put brick in and the granite and all of the above, is that up to the town to maintain it totally? If there's an accident or
Correct.
we have to fix the granite and the brick too?
Correct.
that's why I
Yeah.
think it's good to limit it to the downtown from a maintenance perspective.
Hollowell put their brick in 1978. So 39 years later, it's in need of an overhaul. Just as an example. And that's a mongrel of a brick sidewalk. They got concrete, they got pavement, they got gravel, they got everything pulled together, and that was established in 78. So that kind of gives you a sense of the life expectancy for brick. But the thing with how it's made is if a brick cracks or moves, then it's just sitting on sand, and then you just have to make sure you compact it.
So the Hollowell thing isn't that new process?
It will be, but the one that's in place now
In
is not.
78,
Yeah,
right.
It's not.
The original one, they're
You
everywhere.
expect this new one to last longer?
I do, just because
So
of
the
how it's
bricks are
constructed.
individual, you can take one brick out if it cracks and
You
put
could,
another
yeah.
brick in?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the
if you
nice
can keep up
aspect of
with
it,
it.
setting in sand. It's not setting in concrete or setting
Right.
in the pavement, so it pop it out, and then you just have to compact it back in place.
So
It's not
while-
as easy as that, but that's, it's a
While we're
lot
on
easier.
this slide, do you want to talk about that intersection
Yes.
Yeah,
right here?
Turn us a little bit
yeah,
and you'll see what, yeah, this one.
yeah. That telephone pole's coming out of there. I looked over there.
Possibly. That pole on the other side may not leave us.
This one?
Which one?
That one right there.
That one there?
Yeah, because there's actually three-phase power going up. CMP has worked on some design things, so I don't know if their thought is they're going to bring three-phase from Otis Street down to Tozier, but the next pole up that's leaning terribly
Yes.
is the pole that's feeding Tozier's Market. No, up the other road.
This one?
Nope,
No. Up
that one right there.
there.
You can see from the picture, well, the next one above that actually, CMP's actually replaced that at least once. And they both lean because one feeds the shop and the other one feeds Tozier's. And you see the guy wire that they've got in the parking lot. It could probably just as easily come, if we're going to be crossing where that natural wood garage barn is, that's where our hope is we'll cross over with the power
And come up Goodell?
and go to Pike Street.
Oh, all the way over?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe. I haven't seen the design. I've got to talk to them. So
But there's enough setback in there to put the right-hand lanes in there. What you see in Tozier's stop, where you see his paint on a thing there, that's about where his property line is. If you back up a little bit,
so
stop right there.
This right here?
Yeah, right about there is his property line. You got plenty of room to put a right-hand turn coming out of that street and a right-hand turn around the old bank.
but I'll also tell you on the opposite side of the road where the yellow curbing is
Yeah,
of Goodell.
Go back to the right. There you go.
That yellow curb right there
yeah.
is not the right of way. It's about 5 feet in on their property.
On Dakin's property?
Yep. Yeah, he gave a little space because when Tozier's was existing on the front lot, everybody parked against that side or pulled into that dirt driveway that was there. And when he put the curb up, he didn't want to disturb that flow. Now nobody parks there.
Yeah.
Period. Just doesn't happen. So that's going to have to be investigated. You guys have Goodell as yours now, so that might be something to be looked at
What about on
in
this side?
conjunction.
Where's
Well,
the-
on
where's
this
the
side,
line
I think
on-
Dick had it nailed. It was about where they paint the line.
Right there.
And
Does
maybe
it also
even-
drive you crazy when you see people park like that?
But it's a matter of how much you need in your turning lanes.
Yep.
You got 3 lanes there.
Yep.
What is that's a state road? State,
Yes.
what is the width of the lanes on that, Ernie? Do you know, on state roads?
There'd be 11, we try to make them 11-foot wide travel lanes.
So if you got 33 feet and better, you should be good. There should be a possibility that we could do that. And one other question I have, when you pass a street, how much of a setback do you take care of? I know you go by a person's driveway, you feather it in, blend it in.
Yeah, it all depends on where that match point is, depends on how much we raise the road profile. Say they got a 10% drive here,
Yeah,
and we're raising the road up, that'll flatten that drive, but if we drop it down, it'll raise the grade of the driveway. And if it's greater than 10%, we have to pave it to that point of impact. So it all depends on how much we raise the profile. I don't have those sections with me, but we'll be able to tell property owners what that grade's gonna be in that match point.
going back to the bank, Bangor Savings.
Yep.
They have enough room, I mean, we can't move to the right coming out of that street because you're up against the old bank. But I believe they've offered to work with the town to get an additional lane there if needed.
I
And towards
introduced
Belfast.
Ellie and their grounds people to you last time.
Yeah, and we haven't had a chance to catch up with them. They're on our radar, so.
Yep. Yeah, because they own the lot. That whole area next to the bank is theirs. There used to be a house there, and they bought it and took it down. And they're talking about the ability to come in and make a parking lot there and eliminate much of their entrance.
That parking lot right there is a mess.
That's terrible. It's the worst.
And it doesn't hold many
It's
cars.
dangerous.
Yep.
Do you know if they've hired a consultant to do their layout yet?
They usually go through WBC, whatever it is, WBC.
Yeah, something like that, yeah, I don't know.
But they were willing to not go through it. They would just work with us and see what we could come up with, so.
The one problem is that I've talked to Ellie about this, and she did call me that she couldn't come. People, it's been changes. The people that we were working with are no longer there or somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to start all over again.
And she did good. When they had the last meeting, she brought the grounds person with her.
Okay.
The new one that replaced Jeter. Jeter went to another bank, so.
You've heard me talk about Leach Street, I know 100 times.
Yeah.
Did you? I keep looking at that and I have no idea what can be done. It's a weird street. Have you figured that out?
Not
It's
quite
just
yet. I know they're.
The drainage,
looking at it, yeah,
that's the problem.
that's the problem. Drainage is a lot of the problem out here. I'm not too worried about how the roadway is configured. It's, in a lot of cases, there's non-existent drainage or non-functioning drainage out there. It's been just piecemealed over the years, and you know, the old timers that were out there maintenance wise knew where everything went. Well, they've retired, moved on, and everything that was up here went with them.
I presume you've looked at it. I can't quite tell, but does Route 1 kind of go like even?
It
And Leach
does.
Street come up a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah, and that's why it's not draining
Yeah,
from Route 1.
we're gonna probably end up cutting back on the street and then changing get a profile to the road, so it'll be 2% or 4%, 2% from center line down to the shoulder, and then 4% breaks, so the water will keep flowing. So then what's gonna happen is where that street comes in, it's kind of like what we just talked about, is we're gonna have to carry that up the street a little bit to make that blend in to drain properly.
There is a drain where the stop sign is,
Yep.
but nothing's getting to it.
Right. It's going right by. There's a lot of that out there.
I don't think that drain was put in the right place.
Probably not.
The road moved. So we'll go with that, the road moved.
The road
I've been
moved.
noticing in all the corners as you pull into a different road, look how broken down. I mean, that's where the granite's gonna
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
And I know this is years and years of use, but especially over where, keep going, a little bit more, right there, don't keep going, right there. Where you, I mean,
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
time I see
well,
cars and
corners
trucks
on
pulling
that.
up over
They
that.
hit that every day.
Yeah, so maybe we
every
need to
hour.
make the
Yeah.
sidewalk come back a bit and give us a little break.
Yeah,
We
we're gonna
have
have
to keep
to.
repairing that.
That's one of the other sections it's gonna, and that's what Dick was talking about. Maybe straighten it or do something to.
We got some room in here to
lanes.
change the radius
Yeah.
to back in here to open it up to allow for those turning. Because when you're pulling off, you don't have a lot of room. And I will say this, you guys have done a good job managing your striping. And you have your offset from your crosswalks. Because legally you have to have 20 feet
We try.
of space between your crosswalk and the next parking spot for that sight distance that we talked about, so people can see you walking out. When you go to, we drove through Camden on the way here, and you go to Camden, their cars are parked right up against it, so all of a sudden you see people come right out
Yeah.
and you can't see them. But
They
that's
don't-
why you need that space.
And the next crosswalk by the grasshopper, it's right in the midst of parking spaces.
We don't have the
On both
room there
sides.
to have that 20 feet, but we did try.
But that's okay, because really from this angle is what you're looking at. This angle, you don't have anything to worry about, because
Yeah.
you have all this
We
space.
we don't allow commercial vehicles in their parking spots.
Yeah.
It's posted.
That did help.
It did help.
Yeah. So no, I think you guys are on the course of something good. I mean, there's no question. I think this is going to be a great project. It's not going to be the easiest project, just with everything that's involved.
Did all the other towns have the same problems we have, the infrastructure?
Yep, you're not alone. But the good news is you're like number 4 on my list, so we have a lot of lessons learned that we can share, and
Okay.
plus it's always good to talk about what other towns have done. because I think that's extremely beneficial. Just so you know, we're starting to pull together a toolkit for towns to use as far as communication, website, what's available to the towns for projects like these. Meg Lane in our creative services office has created that, and actually it's just in draft form, so don't hold me to this thing, but once it's finalized, obviously it'll be full-blown dispersion to folks. And watch me not be able to get to it.
The other thing we talked about along with the sidewalks was the egresses into the different shops.
Yeah,
We wanted to have
the
a
steps.
uniform
we
or,
talked about steps, and
Yes.
on that picture you're at right now, if you can turn it to face the big building, you'll see those are granite.
yeah.
But if you go over to the other buildings,
Cement.
those are granite. Go the other way.
Oop, I totally blew by you
You
there.
really got us out of there. There's a net block. There's one
They're
that's
all
made of brick,
they're all
and
different.
the large 3-story. See that one right in front of you? Those are 2 are brick right there.
One's brick and
Completely
one's granite.
different than anything else.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if you
one's
go
half
back
granite.
uptown, has cement.
Right, and I guess my recommendation for those is
Granite.
to reuse the granite curb that we take
Yeah.
out if
Yeah.
the property owner wants them.
We will have an issue across the street from that one though. And keep going.
This one?
Those are all granite. Keep going around in the circle there. Keep going, keep going. Those are all granite. That one in front of you, right there.
This one right here.
Nope. The big one.
This one over here.
Yep. That is cement right into the system. The railings built into it. Those are all cement, weren't they? Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they are also.
So, different
But-
story with that one. I don't know.
Well, depending on how it's attached, I'm assuming it's
Looks like
cast in
granite
place
up
probably
by the
next to
door.
the,
Yeah,
must have do all these have granite foundations, do you know?
I believe so. Yes.
So I'm assuming that's probably cast right up next
Cast
to
right
the.
into the foundation.
Yep. So
That's
that,
rock
that should
foundation.
break apart. And, then it just becomes down to, to me, the opportunities there to reuse
Granite curbing.
granite for the steps.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we do have
Clean
some
it up.
newer. We have some newer granite out there too that is probably 15 years or less old, so it's probably got good edging and stuff.
You guys are gonna be responsible for these stoops to get them, replacing them, state, will do that deal.
Yeah, we're gonna try. We're gonna do our best to maintain the elevations they're at, because we're not required to make them ADA compliant. The only thing we have to make ADA compliant are sidewalk facilities to and from our highway.
You don't have a height limitation where you can't exceed is between your steps?
We just try to match whatever that elevation is there. Of that, we've got that surveyed, that sill elevation of those steps. We're gonna try to meet that or improve it or lessen it. That's our goal. With Hollowell is similar to this, if not worse. We improved every one of those entrances into businesses except for a handful, which was amazing, given the profile of the road.
So do you think that there's enough granite to reuse, or do you think we have to purchase?
No, we have tons.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's a lot of granite out
There's
there.
a lot of granite out there.
The only
All
thing
the
that
downtown's
I would
granite.
have a concern about is that it's short in nature. It's not long pieces.
Well, up the road, we have some good long pieces the other way, heading east. Right, just keep one more shot. We put in this one at right here. These are
Okay,
all.
yeah.
That's all brand new and a little bit longer than what's downtown. So
Yep, so you do. You got some good
Yeah.
stuff there. It'd
We'll
just
have
be a
to
matter
use
of
it
trying to
then,
clean it
right?
up.
they're bringing new.
Oh,
If we were to get out in front of you and pull that stuff up, you guys would put new stuff, no, that don't work.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't recommend you guys out there doing that.
And
The bridge, the repair on the bridge, if it takes place, will be on the north side. That wall that is slowly.
That's
coming
my
up
understanding, correct?
by 2 or 3 inches, and that came about, in my opinion, after the water district went underground there with their.
Undermined
I
it.
think they weakened it a little bit.
Yeah,
It hasn't moved that much, but they worked on it last year, I think it was. They put cement in there and tried to bolt it.
yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have something there. I'm just not, I don't think it's gonna be anything that's big in nature. Cause I think the structure itself is pretty good except for that wing wall.
You know, looking at Wiscasset, where you have lighting on one side and then the new lighting on the other side, I'm wondering if maybe Searsport wants to put lighting on both sides, from like in front of the museum to, from closures to the museum, a short stretch to brightness, center of town up in the evening. Just food for thought, I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's
Yeah,
late in the
that's
game,
something-
but
can we do sidewalk lights on both sides?
Would you stagger them?
If you do,
Alternate them?
if you
Yeah,
do
you could stagger
sidewalks, if you do, I don't think it's gonna help you though, cause you're not going beyond some of the outskirt pieces on the side streets. But most times when you have sidewalk lighting on both sides of the road, it's enough illumination so you can do away with the Cobra lights above. So that would be something that would have to be done when you look at the photometrics, which is the flooding pattern for the
Yeah.
lights. It's possible, but you would need them on both sides like you're talking about to do that, to have a chance.
And typically, are they staggered, alternated?
No, typically they fall in
opposite.
line across each other, but, you know, 75 to 100 feet is a typical spacing. Obviously, different fixtures have different type of elements that have different types of photometric patterns.
I bring that up more of maybe something for the future, but while we got sidewalk open and the road open, maybe that would be the time to lay the electrical down there. Just like we sent a
Absolutely.
letter to the gas company a couple of weeks ago up in Bangor Gas, and if you want to consider anything in the future, maybe you want to put your pipe in and cap it on both ends, and so that you don't have to worry about
Just hook in.
digging this thing up again, you know, which they chose not to.
I would rather do it one inconvenience for the town and the traveling public than
Yeah.
having companies keep coming back and digging it up.
Right,
Well, sounds like it'd be cheaper, just to get all that
you got the whole lump of
underlaid.
loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You had mentioned on the side street, it would wrap around a few feet. Is that, I
Yep.
have that right?
Yep.
I may not have seen it. Do you have any pictures of what that looks like?
let's see if I got it from.
I was looking, I didn't seem to see it.
Let's see if I've got the latest and greatest plan set here. Progress report. I don't think I have the latest and greatest plan set, Doug, unfortunately.
It's okay.
But all that, next time you see us, we'll have a much further along plan and we'll show those, how far we go up on the side streets with the curb. Because a lot of times what that does, it means we're trying to catch one of those catch basins on that radius. So you're gonna see a lot of that with a radius and a catch basin like the one that's not working. It'll be placed next to a curb line so water will channel into it.
That's why I'm kind of interested.
Yep.
I think there may be a problem on a lot of those side streets. Although, that one right there works good.
Yeah, on the corner of the,
Yeah, that one, very good.
I don't think I've got anything. This is the plans that we brought down. Let's see if, I can't remember to what degree that we had. Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to pull that out, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't have anything to pull out for you. Let's see if that, yeah, that might be a little better. That's the start of the project there. Yeah, we didn't have any of the side streets on there. But typically, what you're gonna see is is that curb will go right from here to probably back to this point, Doug. And obviously you got, this is Water Street. So you'll have, we're gonna match into this existing curb somewhere, break it, put the new curb out, and then just blend this driveway in, the street in. There's a short piece. That's actually the bank
Oh, I
property
see.
right there.
Can you stop right there for a
Yeah.
second? Okay, I got you. You're rounding that off.
Yeah, and most of the intersections are gonna be just like that, because we have to collect the water and make sure we manage the water coming to the roadway. And it may go further.
That's what's not happening.
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing out there, you're absolutely right. So, when we come back, next time, these plans will be a little more developed. This is the plans that we showed back in May.
There's only one S in Mosman, too. It's not Mossman,
Oh, yes.
it's Mosman.
Mosman.
Yeah.
I'll back charge the consultant for that. See where that gets me. But no, anytime you guys have questions with your committee, channel them through James. Because I know it's kind of crunch time to come up with some decisions that are a financial commitment from the town. So I know it's a short window, but I also know it's a budget thing too.
You probably answer this. On the brick, I know there's different kind of bricks, all kinds of different kind of bricks. Is there, and we're gonna decide, we gotta decide which ones. Is there thin bricks we can't use?
I'm not too worried about what type of brick it's going to be right now. You just tell me that you want brick
Okay.
and what your limits of your brick are. I'm not too worried about the type because we can get to those later, because if we have Kent Cooper, he's my landscape architect and he's a magician with this stuff. He'll come in and he'll work with you folks as a committee to finalize the aesthetic looks of certain things.
Where the
brick.
lights should go and all that?
The lights will be done by an electrical engineer, but as far as what type of brick, if you want plantings, if you want benches, Kent's the man for that.
Grates,
Yeah.
trees.
Yep,
He would, one person does all that?
yep, he's good, he's
That's
really good. Well, when you go to, I'll show you some of his work actually. When you go, oh, I don't have it, unless they must have taken a gunkwit down already.
No, when you
Shucks.
go to Gunkwit site, it has his rendering right in front.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, we don't have it up here anymore though. They took it down.
But when you went to earlier, it had the...
Oh, did it? Oh, was Cassett in? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
Well, you had it, you were showing us a gunquit
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, that was just a video that I had taken. I'll see if I can get that one up, and but he actually took and hand drew a picture of what a gunk grip could possibly look like, and they actually put it on the annual report, which was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to remind me, Andy, we'll get that, make sure we get that up so we can look at it.
We can get it on our annual
Yeah.
report, get people
Or at
all
least get it
excited,
out on,
especially if we
on
need
Eagle or
money
something so
to be
people can see
voted on.
We're doing a lot of things with computer aided drawings that kind of make it hopefully more realistic so folks can kind of see what the finished product might look like. Obviously it's not precision, but
No, we can get an idea.
actually
is that a drawing?
yeah, that's this actually, these buildings right here are actually from the imagery that we did with our laser scanner. Then I had someone go in and they actually have a wall here with steps and railings in Wiscasset. Red's Eats, if you're familiar, is right here on this corner. So this is looking up the hill in Wiscasset as you come from Edgecombe across the bridge. And these are the bump outs that James had talked about. There will be two signals here, one at this intersection and one up here. But as you can see, we've taken away the on-street parking between these two blocks of the parking project. But that's some of the renditions that we've been doing that it's really realistic.
So where
in
are
nature.
people parking for shopping?
Where there's, we're actually adding parking on both sides of,
The bridge, right?
yep. Let me see, I might actually have. Let's see. I guess I lost it. Gotta get better Wi-Fi, James.
It's winter.
Oh, mercy.
Actually, we have high-speed fiber optic here.
So when you look at that picture that we were looking at, is in Red Dietz is right here. So that picture was looking up, so this is the bump out. So all this on-street parking here, we're building a new parking lot over here on the east side. And then on Railroad Avenue, we're adding all this parking here. Right now, it's just a gravel road. So on that side there, we're expanding and putting another parking lot over here to allow for parking.
Wow. That's am I wrong? That's a lot of parking.
That's a lot of parking.
It's a lot of parking, but people have to walk a lot further to get to those shops.
It's a walkable town.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
but
it's
that's-
raining.
But that's some of the things that we'll be doing, that we'll do the same thing here with those artist renderings and kind of give people a somewhat of a realistic picture as opposed to something that's not realistic, and because we know it's hard for people to understand exactly what we do, so we're getting better at providing materials so you can have a
One of the
better
biggest
You with
things
a
that people,
computer.
both of us actually.
one of the biggest things that people are talking about is the double lane up on the east side, by Steamboat, Hamilton Marine, up in that area.
Yeah.
And if there could be, because people, nobody can really picture how that's gonna work, if you could have a drawing of that, I think it would be really
Yeah.
helpful
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, once you get more expand on the design, you might see some people out there taking some photographs, standing in the middle of the road. That'll be the base map for us, and then we'll take that picture and start adding the cosmetic sidewalks and the sidewalk lighting and stuff like that, so.
It's clever, all the stuff that you
It
do.
all comes together.
Yeah.
So what do we need to kind of formulate a time plan here and start working on these projects?
Yeah.
That have like end dates so that we
Make
get
a
them
list.
done?
September for some stuff.
Do you mind my asking, last I thought that I knew this project was going to start the fall of next year, 18,
Yeah,
and now we're into 19. Why does it keep getting, it's been pushed back about 6 years at this point.
now it's the whole dynamic of when we added that two-way center turn lane on the other end of town. Now it adds another element of more survey than right-of-way. The biggest thing is gonna be the right-of-way process. Our right-of-way process is anywhere from 12 to 16 months. Just the right-of-way process alone, which you have a lot of property owners on the project, so every impact, they're gonna have to sit down with an appraiser, then they're gonna have to sit down with a negotiator and work through what each individual impact is. That just takes a lot of time, and this is one project of many.
Do you have any realistic hope of having it done before the town's birthday?
Next time I come to town at the public meeting, I'll have more of a better understanding of the schedule and obviously commitment from the department on delivery. I know 2020 is a very crucial year in a lot of ways, 20
Yeah.
years for Searsport. And
If we
Too
miss
much
it, we'll have to
mistake.
wait another 25 or
And
50
the birthday is
years.
February 13th, I think.
We did, well, I don't know if we did, you did, I think. This was downtown originally. I've been dealing with this from the beginning.
well, you kicked me out
Then
of
it went
town once.
to, then,
Just once?
went to Savage
I'm back.
Road and then it went to Station Avenue. It was gonna be Black Road. This is
So it's a
And
bigger
I-
project.
It's a big chunk.
To half answer your question.
Yeah, the project keeps expanding.
It kept moving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's all to our benefit. We
Well,
have
it is.
major infrastructure
Yeah,
problems.
it'll give Searsport one heck of a facelift. 'Cause if you stop and look, it's pretty run down.
Is that-
That's okay too,
Is that all right?
because that's the town. It's a
Yeah,
historic
but
town and.
Oh, yes, I know, but I mean the roads and all the potholes and
But you're doing
It gives
this,
it
I think,
character.
will give
Oh, well,
other,
it is, and then if you just whip through it, you don't see
Yeah.
it, but you see, look at the pictures he was putting up tonight, and then you see all the potholes. and-
This is longer than most, isn't it?
It's about, yeah, I mean, Hollowell's only 3/10 of a mile, Belgrade Village is 3/10 of a mile.
Lincolnville?
Agunquit was 2 miles.
Oh,
So we
okay.
bit off 2 miles of Route 1 in Agunquit to Wells Town Line to York Town Line. That was the Agunquit project, Wiscasset's about 3/10 of a mile. So yes, this is
Right.
similar in nature but longer in project.
How did you do anything in the summer in Algonquin?
We didn't.
Okay.
We were out of town, June, I want to say June 17th to the day after Labor Day.
I used to go down there in the evening where you could park free on the beach and it was a nice breeze in the middle of summer.
Yeah. Oh, it's a
Go down
beautiful
there-
beach.
Go down there in the daytime, man, you're on the ollie molly, riding around, jumping off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice place.
Yep.
Hey, do we want to talk about, I just wrote down on the plan, from Pike Street to Church Street. Is everybody in agreement that on the
Well,
north side?
I'd like to do that at our next meeting. I got a list of things,
Okay,
and we will
you're
pull,
making a
we'll do the
list.
I
same
hope we
thing.
have more people.
We'll do the same thing with the video. We're good on their site, and we'll look at the different features. And then we can decide, and then report back to them after our next meeting, which would be,
When will,
hopefully we can set that up tonight.
Okay.
yeah,
Next meeting is when?
We haven't got that far, right?
We're gonna get there right now, I
We said it,
hope.
we haven't done it.
Yeah, I'll send James the link right to that Wiscasset site so he can send those out to you guys, and you just click the link and go right to it.
How quick you want to move?
Well, I think we should meet no later than mid-month, so we can get something put together to send to them.
And I'll try to get you some rough cost, James, on
Yep.
difference in cost between brick and bituminous. I should be able to come up with those relatively easy.
where are the lights?
Right directly behind you on the wall. Of course, in the most convenient spot in the room.
You want to go with the Wednesday nights again?
Yep.
At the 16th? Week everybody.
Yeah, now we can see.
Everybody try the 16th of August, see if it works for you?
6:30?
30.
6:30, yeah.
Wednesday the 16th at 6:30.
I can